This is a story about two hikers on the Appalachian Trail and pesty apparitions who stalked them. This image is available on a tee, along with other merch, on Redbubble. Enjoy the story.
We hiked the Appalachian Trail. By me, Trish Brown.
The trail began in gold. Leaves, amber, crimson, and burning orange crowded the narrow path. The young couple, 20-somethings, a boy and girl, moved through them slowly, hands clasped, their steps soft against the earth. Above, the sky churned in layered grays, clouds folding into one another as if alive. It should have felt ominous. Instead, it felt vast, beautiful, full of possibility. Through hiking Appalachian wasn't easy, but they embraced the challenge. They smiled often, speaking in half sentences and quiet laughter. The world was their oyster, putting on a show just for them. Their trail legs finally kicked in. The girl groaned and stooped to rub her aching calf. Finally! Pain's almost gone. It was killing me. The boy grinned at her. See? That's what happens when a lazy person sleeps in instead of kissing the morning and working out. Let that be a lesson to you. She responded by playfully pelting him with a handful of leaves. Ain't nobody likes a smug jerk. He crossed the 10 feet separating them. Pulling her into a burly embrace, he affectionately noogied her scalp. He was pleased with their progress. Despite their way too heavy backpacks and uneven terrain, they didn't feel fatigued. Not anymore. Everything was easy peasy. It was a family affair. The girl's mom had packed easy-to-eat snacks, and the boy's dad had dropped them off, with a promise to come to the rescue if and when they sent out a SOS. They had been on the trail for 6 days now. Their lungs no longer strained, their hearts had picked up the pace, their endurance improved, their bodies adapted. It's all good. The boy smiled, giving the girl's head an extra knuckle rub. She rewarded him with a kiss on his cheek. There's more of that when we make camp after we eat. And, she added, after you do the dishes. Along the trail they discovered several ultimate resting places of revolutionary heroes. The faded inscriptions could still be read. The girl refused to stop and read, but the boy was fascinated. As the couple passed every historical cemetery or grave marker, he slowed, adopting a more leisurely, reflective pace. He took pictures and notes. Hey, come here and look at this. There are graves of veterans from the American Revolution, Civil War, as well as final resting places of enslaved African Americans. You really ought to see this before it disappears. We need to preserve it. That's okay. I can do without coming any closer. She felt a chill and turned away from the headstones, uncut stones and wooden crosses that marked the burial sites of children who died too young, mothers, fathers, and siblings who worried about them. The markers epitomized the unbearable fragility of life and dead patriots who were thrust into the cataclysm of a bloody war they had not started nor wanted. Did they die in vain? The girl shuddered at each stop, hugging herself. She felt like an intruder and resisted her boyfriend's insistence on investigating every site. He was on a history kick and wanted to document the history of America and YouTube his work. For her, the graves only offered a distressing serving of the insignificance of mankind. These were real people, she told the boy. Living, breathing mortals. They loved breakfast with coffee, had sweet tooths, prayed to their savior, changed diapers, got married. Hopefully the marriage came before the diapers. The boy smirked, steadying his phone camera. The girl persisted, hoping to inspire a sliver of empathy in the boy. They are tangible reminders of man's inhumanity to man, of lives cut short. She felt a deep emotional connection to the people they used to be. Now there was only a deep loss and shame. At first it was only a feeling, not a sound, not a movement, just the subtle shift of awareness, the sense that something had joined the trail behind them. The girl slowed slightly. Did you hear that? The boy glanced back. Nothing, only the winding path, swallowed in foliage and shadow. Probably just leaves, he said, though he squeezed her hand a little tighter. They continued, wanting to make camp in a few hours. The girl was starting to lose momentum. Here, the boy said, try this. He peeled off the wrapper of a Hershey bar and handed it to her. The girl grabbed it and shoved half of it into her mouth. Chocolate dribble trickled down her chin. Guiltily, she offered the boy the half that remained, hoping he would turn it down. He took it. The air grew cooler as they climbed. The colors deepened. Reds became darker, bruised almost. gold dimmed into rust. The clouds above thickened, dimming the light without quite turning it to dusk. The trail narrowed further, forcing them closer together, and the feeling returned. Closer now, more certain. This time, both of them stopped. Neither turned immediately. Something held them in place, a quiet, instinctive hesitation, like prey sensing the moment before being seen. "Okay," the boy said softly. "Someone's there." The girl nodded. "I know," she whispered, her shoulders hunched, making her smaller. She avoided looking at the boy. They turned together. The trail behind them stretched empty. No footsteps, no movement, no sound but the restless whisper of leaves shifting in the wind. And yet the girl frowned. "That's not right." "What?" She hesitated. It felt closer than that. They stood there longer than necessary, searching the empty path. The silence was unnatural. It choked off their composure. The strange silence pierced the tranquility of the trail. Missing was the cacophony of nature. No birds, no insects, no wind. More than unsettled, they felt violated. Finally, they turned back toward the overlook ahead. But something had changed. The wonder was still there, but thinner now, fragile, like glass under pressure. They walked again, and this time when the feeling returned, it didn't fade. It stayed, breathing with them, matching their pace, step for step. The boy swallowed. "Don't stop." He didn't look at her. "I wasn't going to," she whispered. She smothered a sneeze, not wanting to make unnecessary noise. She skipped a step to catch up to the boy, trying not to look over her shoulder. She hid her hands in her pockets. Her hands tightened until her knuckles whitened. The wind shifted, and with it something moved, not ahead, not beside them, behind. They turned around and saw themselves. Not reflections, not illusions. Them. They saw themselves, standing several paces back on the trail, a young man and woman, same clothes, same posture, same expressions, but wrong. The apparitions wavered as though made of smoke and memory, edges blurred into the air, their faces identical, pale, hollowed eyes, shadowy, intense. They were watching, not with curiosity, not with confusion, with recognition. The girl gasped, stumbling backward into the boy. No, that's... I see them," he whispered, voice barely holding. The apparitions did not move closer. They didn't need to. Not then. Not that moment of discovery. The couple stepped forward quickly. The girl stumbled. The boy yanked her up. The see-through identical people stepped forward, perfectly in sync, mirroring them, closing the distance not by chasing, but by becoming. They seemed to take on a perverse pleasure in the couple's fear. "Stop moving," the boy croaked, his voice cracking with stress. The young couple froze. So did the apparitions. 4 figures on a narrow trail bound in silence, even the leaves stilled. The girl's voice trembled. "What do they want?" The boy didn't answer, because he could feel it now. He knew. Not pursuit, not attack, replacement. The ghostly pair tilted their head just slightly, studying them the way one might study a reflection that doesn't behave. Then, slowly, the apparitions sort of smiled. At least it looked like a smile. Not wide, not kind, just enough to show they understood something the living did not. The girl squeezed her eyes shut. We should go back. But when she opened them, the trail behind them was gone, swallowed by trees that had been friendly and welcoming before. The only direction left was forward, toward the overlook, toward whatever waited at the end for them. The boy exhaled shakily. "We keep walking," he stated with courageousness he didn't feel. He squared his shoulders and puffed his chest. He hoped his fake demeanor would serve to steady the girl. And then, what about them? He didn't look back this time. He didn't want to answer, didn't want his voice to be heard, to be documented. If he couldn't be heard, then nothing could seek him out and hurt him. He wanted to be invisible. "They're coming either way," he said, resigned. He didn't want to scare the girl. "But what the heck? It's not like I'm flippin' Einstein!" Shame made his cheeks red. He immediately pushed back the mean thoughts. She didn't deserve hostility. She deserved to be protected. At his urging, they moved again, step by step. Their apparitions followed. Closer now, closer than before. And with every step the couple took, the distance between them halved. Then the girl felt something brush her shoulder. The touch was cold, but familiar. She turned against her gut's advice and came face to face with herself. Not behind her anymore. Beside her. It was smiling that same dumbass knowing smile. The boy shouted her name, but his voice sounded far away, as if pulled into the clouds above. The sky split briefly with pale light, and in a moment there were only two figures on the trail, walking forward, hand in hand, faces sculpted into a secret.
You can find We Hiked the Appalachian Trail tees and stuff, which are available on Redbubble under my name, Patricia Brown. Check it out.